What's a guan, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. So let's get into it. Summer is right around the corner. Right around the corner. Just a couple of weeks left this summer. You guys have been bad for the last couple of months. Happy hump day. So let's get into it. Summer is right around the corner. Right around the corner. Just a couple of weeks left this summer. You guys have been bad for the last couple of months. Hump day. So let's get into it. Summer's right around the corner, right around the corner. Just a couple of weeks left this summer. So I'm hearing myself repeatedly. So let's get into it. Summer's okay. So I'm hearing myself repeatedly. I'm not sure why that is happening. Technical difficulties. Struggle streaming already, apparently. Are you guys hearing an echo? I was hearing myself twice. Are you guys hearing an echo? Okay. That's me turning off my speakers. Are you guys hearing an echo? Oh, it's still there. Okay. Let me exit and come back in. Okay, let's try this again. Can you guys hear me properly without any problems? Okay, let's try this again. Can you guys hear me properly without any problems? No, we cannot. Okay, let me try restarting the browser. Okay, let's see. Restarted the browser. Let's see if we have any problems. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me properly? Or no? Do you still hear another echo, or is it fine now? Okay, perfect. All right, so let's start all over again. Yeah. All right, so a couple weeks left before summer. 3 weeks to be specific. Now you've been bad for several months. I know. Just had Memorial Day weekend. You were bad again. I saw people posting about Memorial weekend weight gain. So now you're looking for a miracle. Well, the good news is you can still get Beachbody ready. I know it sounds almost too good to be true. And it's not gimmick. It's not clickbait or anything like that. So I'm going to start by giving you guys a couple easy tips. 7 of them to be specific. And then we're going to get into some more hardcore tips for the people who want to go even deeper, let's say. So easiest thing to do is you want to follow a low bloat diet. What does that mean exactly? You want to not go too crazy on the sodium, because when you consume a lot of sodium, salt, sucks in a lot of water, which make you look puffy, right? So don't go crazy on the sodium. So for those of you who eat out a lot, I would cut back on that significantly. Cook at home. Food will taste better, cost less, and you control how much sodium go into it, right? Cut back on those drinks you may like to drink that contain sodium in them. Just cut back on the sodium, right? You'll be less bloated. Next would be fruits. Fruits, surprisingly, can be quite bloating. I know this personally because it's cherry season. I love my cherries. Can you guys see these very clearly? Love me some cherries, right? It's my big weakness. Numero uno weakness. No control over it when it comes to the cherries. No control. I can easily eat that bag, the entire bag in one sitting. No exaggeration. I'm infamous or famous, depending on what to think about it, at my local Whole Foods for my cherry purchasing. And that's the one thing I don't care whether it's organic or not. I just want to devour it. When the organic ones come out late in the season, I'll buy those. But in the meantime, I will devour the non-organic ones. It is what it is. The other thing is water. You need to drink enough of it. If you may counterintuitive, right? You may think, oh, if I drink a lot of water, I'll be bloated. But it's the opposite. If you don't drink enough water, your body will hold onto that water, right? Will squeeze into that water. What you want is drink enough water that your body will flush out the water, flush out excess sodium. I know, kind of counterintuitive, right? So the next thing is, we've spoken about it so many times on the channel, you got to track. Track the food you're consuming. Because if you have no idea what you're consuming, especially if you're trying to get Beachbody ready, the odds of you getting there is practically impossible, as you'll see later on. You need to know if you're eating too much or not enough. And it'll also be motivating, right? You're helping to keep yourself accountable. Self-accountability. And you just need to know it is what it is. Now, also, don't go crazy on the cardio. A lot of people are going like, oh, I got to do a ton of cardio. No. Gradually increase the cardio. You don't want to start with actually no cardio. I know, kind of counterintuitive. I mean, if you do, or when you do cardio, the slow, steady state stuff, not the high intensity stuff, right? I'm talking like walking on a treadmill, not running on the treadmill. Again, counterintuitive. Stairmaster, riding a bicycle, not going crazy in the spin class or anything like that. I know, counterintuitive, right? But you don't want to stress the body out too much because you're going to be cutting back on calories, etc., as you'll soon see. And don't worry too much about directly working your core. So if you're trying to, show off some abs or be in the two-piece bikini, whatever, or just have your shirt off as a guy, planks are not going to get you there. Crunches are not going to get you there. Yeah, crunches and those things, they don't make the fat around your waistline disappear. It doesn't work that way, right? What you want to do is some indirect core work with like legs, squats, glute bridges. Squats are great. I mean, it's one of the biggest master building exercise, bodybuilding exercises. They say great bodies are built in the squat rack, right? Whether you're a guy or a girl, you're squatting, lots of good things are going to happen. Increase your calorie burn on leg days. Great for that sort of stuff. Glute bridges for the ladies trying to, wear the bikini. That will help with the derriere and also indirectly work the core. Similar with deadlifts. Great overall full body type exercise. You're bending down, you're lifting up a heavy weight off the floor, or heavy for you, right? That works a lot of things, including your core. Then tip number 5 would be increase your protein intake. Increase your protein intake. Most of you don't eat enough protein, right? Typically trying to shoot for a gram per pound of body weight. So if you're not there yet, gradually increase yourself. Now train your back and shoulders if you're not already doing that. Because the broader the shoulders, the broader the back, you're going to create that illusion of slimness or a slimmer waist specifically. And you may not think you can do much in a couple of weeks, but something is better than nothing. And when you add all these things up together, all these little pieces can add up to a something, right? Now, I touched on water earlier. It does a lot of other stuff to it. It can help you with calorie control. Drink water, 2 glasses before a meal. Kind of full you up. Sometimes when you're hungry or you feel you're hungry, you're not actually hungry, you're actually thirsty. If you drink water and you notice the hunger disappears, then you weren't really that hungry, right? So it's going to help with muscle function, keeps your skin looking good. Again, you're trying to take off so many clothing for the summer, right? Summer body. Flushing toxins from your body, help you think more clearly, you're less likely to make bad eating decisions, support your immune system, the balance of fluids in your body to make your body look good. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So water should also be your drink of choice over juices, sodas, and any other kind of liquid calorie. I know we like to think of fruit juices as healthy, but you can consume a gazillion calories in those things. I mean, literally a gazillion calories. So go easy on the fruit juice. Go easy on the fruit juice. As a matter of fact, for this period of a couple of weeks, I'd recommend just cutting them out. You got to pick, right? Do you want to look good with your shirt off or in that bikini, or do you want to drink the orange juice or the grapefruit juice? Pick. Can't have them both. It's crunch time. Gotta make some big moves, big steps, right? Can't afford to no half measures at this point in time. No half measures. All right. So that's the easy, low-hanging fruit, I would say. Let me give a shout out. Who do we have here? Hey, hello, Sec Amethyst, the lioness of videography. Welcome. Good to see you again. Hello, Positive Therapist. Good to see you again, too. And Skincare Do's and Don'ts. Good to see you guys again as well. Positive Therapist. Hello, hello, hello. So, yeah. So you guys are busy in the chat. Hello, Big Bad Bull. Welcome to the show as well. Shout out to you, sir. Nice. Now, for you guys who want to get more hardcore, right? Because you can get more hardcore. There is something called a mini cut. Now, you guys probably heard of dieting and cutting, or maybe you have not. But a mini cut, as the name implies, is a miniature diet cut. Now, it's not a quick fix. It's not magic, right? And a lot of people do this stuff wrong. There's more advanced stuff we're talking about here. But when done correctly, it can help you in a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I would say no more than that, really. For a mini cut, can help for you to, make something that is visibly different to your eyes and the eyes of other people. But you got to do it the correct way. Of course, it's not easy. Otherwise, everybody would do it, right? You got to put some work into it. It's a shorter, more aggressive fat loss approach, but it's not long-term sustainable. You can't keep doing this stuff, right? Again, you can't get something for nothing, right? Typically lasts, again, 2 to 6 weeks, and you're losing anyway from 0.75% to 1.25% of your body weight each week, which, if you think about it, can be noticeable. So we're going to have to do some math during this session as well, right? Well, I'll be doing the math at any rate. Don't know about you guys. So let's see. Let's pull up the calculator. And I'll be dropping the link for you guys to call in with any questions you might have. So let's say you weigh, 180 pounds, right? And that's 0.075. 180 times 0.0075 rather. So that's 1.35 pounds per week. Now, over a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, that's almost 1.35. That should almost be 5 pounds, right? Actually, 5.4 pounds. Now, if you think back, if you're, say, 180 pounds now, or you used to be, right? Just imagine you drop 5 pounds, and it's not water weight. It's not some gimmicky type stuff. I mean, usually you can fit into some stuff that you haven't been able to fit into for a while, right? The tummy is a little flatter, etc. So it's all relative, but you can quickly get to that. And again, this is not something you can be doing endlessly. It doesn't work that way, right? Let's say you're wearing 200 pounds. And this is on the low end, the 0.75, right? So actually, let me go back to the 180 pounds. So let's say that's going to go to the 1%, right? 0.01, so that's 1.8 pounds. Now you do that for, say, 4 weeks, that's 7 pounds. Again, now you're talking going from 180 to 173 in 4 weeks. That is definitely noticeable. You'll notice it. Anybody who knows sees you regularly, they'll notice it as well. And we'll get more into more details about this kind of stuff, right? As to how to do it, etc., things to consider, etc., etc., etc. Now, one of the problems potentially is weight rebound when you do something like this. So you got to be careful and do it correctly. It's one of the reasons why crash diets result in the rebound weight to higher weights. They crash diet and they cut and lose a bunch of weight. And you see these people months, years later, they're bigger, right? Unfortunately, because you have the body as a setting point, right? And when you do things like these kind of mini cuts, you can get pretty hungry later on. And eventually, when you stop, if you're not careful how to gradually increase back your calories, you could just go crazy, eat a ton of food, and boom, you're bigger than you were before. Again, this is what happened with crash tests typically. Typically, people, when they rebound, they get fatter than they were before, which obviously is not the goal, right? So also when you're doing a mini cut, you're going to be lowering your training volume and training intensity. You're trying to minimize muscle loss. You're trying to not stress out your body too much, trying many things, right? And also when you're finished, because again, you're not doing this beyond 6 weeks. And for the purposes of the summer body, we only got 3 weeks left to the start of summer. Of course, you could do this for 6 weeks to, be in the full groove of summer, to jump to that pool party, the beach. Maybe you have a specific event you would like to look good for. It's flexible, right? It's pretty flexible. It's a matter of how you want to do it. But another way to look at this is like you're temporarily improving your appearance, because the reality is if you're trying to permanently change, you want something that's sustainable, then it's a conventional cut is like 0.5% to 1% per week, right, of fat loss. If you're thinking realistically, and you want to keep it off, that is, not just lose and then boom, get big again. Obviously, if the traditional is 0.5% to 1%, now you're going from 0.75 to 1.25%. It's more. And the more you do, or let me rephrase this, the quicker you lose the weight or the fat in this case, the more aggressive you are, the more you increase the risk of losing muscle. The more you increase if you lose muscle, for those who don't know, that's bad. You run the risk of messing up your metabolism, etc. And quite frankly, not looking as good as when you started, right? And muscle is not just for the guys, it's for the ladies as well. Just think of Serena Williams, Beyonce, Kim Kardashian. Those ladies got muscle. Lori Harvey, they're not just curvy, they have muscle, believe me. Muscle makes everything look good. You don't got to be a guy for that. So those are several of the things you guys will need to consider there. Now, overall, again, I touched on duration, how aggressive you're going to be with this. Again, short is 2 to 3 weeks. Intermediate is about 4 weeks. Long, 5 to 6 weeks. Long is 5 to 6 weeks. So you can't keep doing this. So you're like, oh, wow, 2 weeks, this is working great. What Coach Kirk told me is awesome. Let me do this for a couple of months. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not magic. You'll eventually screw things up and you'll pay a price. Guaranteed, right? So the shorter your mini cut, the faster you can get back to your normal routine. Lifting as heavy as you do, working out as hard as you can, and getting your calories back up to where they were. Because when you cut down the calories, you're going to be hungry, right? And you still got to work out. It's not like you're just sitting there cutting your calories. So the longer you do this, the more mentally stressful it can become. Again, this is a unique situation. You do have this goal of you want this summer body, right? So if you want it badly enough, there's obviously things you're going to do to get it, right? So, when you cut down certain nutrients, say you're used to getting a pump, maybe doing bicep curls and getting a pump, you may not get that, right? Because you cut back so much on the nutrients that you normally be consuming, it's going to cut back on that. And newer muscle is easier to lose than muscle you've had for a while. So if you recently gained some muscle, to increase the odds of you losing that muscle. But again, that's not super highly likely as long as you do things correctly. So what's the typical body weight? 2 to 3 weeks, 1 to 3%. That's quite the range, right? Intermediate, which is 4 weeks, around 3%. Now, if you're doing it long, and again, long is no more than 6 weeks, you're talking like 4%. If you're trying to lose more than 5% of your body fat, I would recommend you do a standard, conventional, regular approach, which is long-term, not transforming yourself overnight. You didn't get fat overnight, so trying to transform yourself overnight is not probably going to work out too well for you, right? What else are things we talked about the duration. So let's see. Because if you think about it, right, if say you're losing, Let me get an example. 1.25% per week. And you did that for 6 weeks. That means after 6 weeks, you'd have lost 7.5% of your body weight. So again, let's say you weigh 180, 9.075. That's 13 pounds. That's a hell of a lot of weight to lose in a month and a half, right? Now you say, oh, wow, this is awesome. Let me keep doing this. Yeah. You know, you're going to increase the stress on your body, physically stress. You're hungry, you're working out. Then there's the mental stress on it. Restricting things. And if you do that too much, you stress your body and your brain out too much, eventually you'll snap and bad things will happen, right? You also run the risk of kind of messing with your metabolism. And again, it varies person to person. How fit you are, how many times you've recently tried this kind of stuff, like crash dieting. If you just finished crash dieting, you're going to need to increase calories, not cut them. It is what it is. Or maybe you've done these before. Genetics will play some role in this as well. So, and you just need to calculate how much you want. So let's say you want to lose 3% body fat over 6 weeks. So what is that? Again, with our 180 example, right? 3%, that's five. Yeah, a little over 5 pounds. Now, if you're trying to do it over 6 weeks, you could do 0.75% and you'll hit it. Versus you trying to go super aggressive and lose even more, but maybe you don't need to. Maybe you only need to lose 5 pounds to be bikini ready or to take your shirt off. Maybe you need to be more aggressive, however, with 1.25% per week, right? It depends, but you want to have some kind of a plan or at least an estimate before you begin this sort of thing, right? You don't want to be flying blind. You want to have some kind of a plan. You don't want to be winging it. Speaking about not winging it, the gold standard for getting your body fat tested is the DEXA scan, right? If you live in any major metropolitan area, you can get a DEXA scan. If you can't get one, whether there's none near you or you don't want to pay for one, you can do that skinful caliper stuff. Now, you're probably going to have to watch some videos on how to do that because while it can be accurate, you have to know what you're doing to do it correctly. And then there's some parts maybe kind of trickier for you to get to. You might have to have somebody else do it for you. And you got to make sure that they are consistent how they're doing it. Because again, it's not a machine, right? It's somebody using a caliper to squeeze your fat areas, love handles, what have you, to figure out, what's your leanness. And you'll want to have these numbers so you can make some kind of a baseline or have a baseline rather to compare to. Obviously, you're going to step on the scale, look at that as well, and optimally take pictures because you see yourself every day in the mirror. It's hard for you to realize when you're changing. Yeah, other people can say you're changing, but when you look at photographs, it'll be much more apparent when you're actually making the changes, right? That's another key thing there. I would say taking photographs will help quite a bit. Guaranteed it will help a bit. So let's see what else we got. So let's get more into the details now. The juicy stuff, right? So how much should you eat or not eat, right? So we're going to use simple numbers, 0.75%, 1%, 1.25%, right? Now, for those who don't know, typically a pound of fat is about 3,500 calories. That's not always the case, but we're using round figures here. So again, as long as you're consistent with your numbers, you'll get where you want to get to. Meaning you need to burn 3,500 calories in a week, typically, again, on average, to lose a pound of fat, right? So again, let's use round figures to keep the math simple so everybody can follow along. If you weighed, let's say, what's the simplest number? 100 pounds, right? So, and you wanted to lose 1%, so that's 1 pound per week. So if a pound of fat is 3,500 calories, to lose that in 1 week, you need, on a daily basis, 500 calorie deficit, right? 7 times 500 gives you 3,500. How could you get to this 500 deficit? You could try to eat 500 less. You could try to work out more. Optimally, you do a combination. You don't want to just slash your calories off the bat. Combination of working out and eating less, that would be the way to go. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds. It's essentially double that, right? 1% of your body weight is 2 pounds. So that's 7,000 calories, the 3,500 times 2. So now you get 7,000 calories. So in this case, now you need 1,000 calorie deficit, right? So you see how it got tricky, right? Just losing 1 pound in this scenario, you're at 500 calories a day. But now, say you're a 200-pound person, which is a lot of people are there or bigger. Now you need 1,000 calorie deficit. Now you really want to use food and working out. You don't just want to cut 1,000 calories, not unless you're eating a gazillion calories, but a lot of people aren't even eating enough food to begin with. But some general rule of thumbs to keep the math simple so it doesn't become overwhelming. If you're trying to lose 0.75%, so you can write this on or just watch the replay, but 0.75%, you'll typically need, just multiply your weight by 3.75. And it should pretty much get you to the correct number, basically. 3.75. If you want to lose 1%, multiply that by 5. 1.25%, multiply that by 6.25. So let me say this again. If you want to lose 0.75 of your body weight each week, you multiply that by 3.75. If you want to lose 1%, you multiply that by 5. If you want to lose 1.25%, multiply that by 6.25. If you didn't get this, you can always watch the replay, right? So those are some numbers you just want to keep in the back of your mind, right? Keep those numbers in the back of your mind. Now, for those of you who, well, generally speaking, you will want to have some idea of how much food you eat to maintain your body weight. But if you don't know, you never tracked it, there are general guidelines, right? You can find this online. But typically, let me give you some examples. You want to also factor in if that's a day you're working out, it's a light workout day, a moderate workout day, a hard workout day. So let's take, these are some generic charts. You can find these online. Well, they're not exactly generic. I'll take that back. But let's say you weigh between 190 and 210. And again, these are just rough numbers, right? You should optimally know how much food you need to eat where your weight stays about the same. But if you don't, that's okay. You can use a general chart and then you adjust accordingly, right? This is why it's important to track. Tracking the food, step on a scale, click, 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 take some photographs. So let's say you weigh between 190 and 210. Non-training day, 2,000 calories. Light day, 2,300. Moderate day, 2,600. Hard day, like leg day, 2,900. Now that may sound like a ton of food to some of you people, but if it does, you're probably not eating enough food. That's a different problem. Now, one of the tricky things as you lose weight is water weight. This is why some of these diets can be kind of misleading, especially the low carb ones, because initially you're just dumping a ton of water. So people are like, oh man, this was fantastic. I lost all this weight, but then it slows down, right? Because you lost a chunk of water weight initially. It wasn't fat that you lost, right? So water weight can fluctuate pretty wildly. So you want to be consistent when you step on the scale. Typically, I'd recommend in the morning after using the bathroom, so you're consistent with that. Because also what happens, when you think about it, as you start to cut calories, especially carbs, which is typically what you're cutting, okay, you don't want to cut the protein most likely. Your muscle glycogen will drop pretty quickly, right? And when that happens, the water is going out to your muscles as well. For those who don't know, your body is primarily comprised of water, right? So generally speaking, for every gram of carb, your glycogen storage drops about 3 grams of water for every gram of carbs. So as you cut your carbs, water will leave your body, so you will kind of shrink, which is that's why when you typically on these diets and they cut calories and cut carbs, you'll see this initial weight loss, but it's water weight. It's not fat that you're burning, right? So, even just a typical 200-pound person with an aggressive cut, they could lose like 7 pounds of water weight in a week. So you're 200 pounds, you go on this super aggressive cut, too aggressive perhaps, and at the end of the week, you're 190, you're like, oh man, I lost 7 pounds. Yeah, but it was water. Then maybe lose 2-3 pounds in the second week. Now it's only around the third week then things are kind of stabilized that you can actually assess accurately what is going on with your body. Now imagine if you get 3-4 weeks into this and you weren't tracking. Now you're just guessing, right? This is making wild ass guesses, and the odds of you getting there, and those who fail to plan to fail, right? So again, it is what it is. You got to respect a mini cut or any kind of diet. The more you wing it, the more likely you're going to be unhappy, right? Going to be unhappy. And if you don't want to try to figure all this crap out, you can hire somebody like me, right? I mean, it is what it is. It's not easy, obviously, but it's also not rocket science. We're using pretty much basic mathematics here. If you can add, subtract, and multiply, you can do this. You just need to be willing to do this and willing to write things down, track things. You know, anything worth doing is worth overdoing, in my opinion. So you got to track. No getting around that. Now, what are some other things I could tell you about? Things to not do with training, right? We touched on the cardio thing, right? Because the cardio is such a go-to for everybody to lose weight. But you actually want to be limiting the cardio in this case, right? Especially if you're going to be crushing your legs. Because I remember when I was losing weight, the time I lost 65 pounds in one of my 2 transformations, I was really killing it in spin class. And when I started lifting, I remember that being problematic, right? Because if I did legs, you squat heavy, whatever, then it's hard to go crush it in spin class, right? So you're kind of limiting those things. So it's not where I found out years later, the low steady state stuff is kind of optimal, just walking, right? I mean, it sounds like you're not doing anything. Oh, I'm not really sweating, blah, blah, blah. But if you think about it, there are a lot of fantastic looking bodies in most gyms, and they're not busting their ass doing cardio. They're walking, or, you know, they're not drenched in sweat. It is what it is, right? So general rule of thumb, no more than 50% of your caloric deficit should be from cardio, but you may even want to reduce that even more, right? You also don't want to go too crazy. What be a good thing? Don't be trying new exercises, right? Because new exercises mean you got to figure out the new weights, how to do them. So maybe you overdo it. You go too heavy, too this, too that. Now is not the time to experiment with those things, right? Nothing super intense like a drop set or a superset. For those who don't know, a superset would be doing multiple sets. For example, maybe you do, I'll say you do a curl, regular curl, then immediately you do a hammer curl. Then maybe you go to the cables. That'd be like a triple superset. Or maybe you go from, say, a bench press to push-ups, right? Or a drop set would be you're benching 225. You do finish the set, you take plates off to 185, then 135, and so forth, right? Don't do that. You're trying to just maintain what you have while you lose fat. You're not trying to transform and get more while you lose the fat at this point in time, right? It's a mini cut. At the end of the cut, you don't want to have messed up anything, right? Because as I said, you can't get something for nothing. And while these things work really good, you got to be careful that you don't rebound and get fatter, or you don't lose muscle. And this applies to the ladies as well as not just for the dudes. You look at any hot female body, it's almost always that lady has muscle. But we tend to think of muscle only for guys. Oh, he's got great shoulders or bicep or chest or whatever. But if you really think careful with any hot female body that you can think of right now, any ethnicity, any age range, they have muscle. Like that 65-year-old female bodybuilder I interviewed, right? That black lady. She looks fantastic, but she's got muscle. That's why she looks fantastic. That she looks like she's got the body of a 20-something-year-old, right? You guys should watch that video, Carolyn A. Brent. Or that lady I coached to drop a gazillion dress sizes, right? Her leg presses went up dramatically. So everything looks better as a result, right? What would be something else to not do? You don't want to go from your minimum effective volume to your maximum recoverable volume. What does this mean? There are different ranges depending on how advanced you are as a workout person, right? Depending on the body part, the exercise you're doing, like there's a minimum amount you need and there's a maximum amount. And you have in between, you have different levels. So for example, hamstrings, right? Hamstrings would be something that you don't do a gazillion sets on. It just is what it is. Shoulders, you can do way more volume on shoulders as an example. Why is this important? Well, let's say you go crush it on legs and hamstring. Now you put your body in too much stress because you already load the calories, blah, 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 blah. Now increase the risk of the mini cut not working or as effective as it could. And then on the other side, the weight gain, right? You don't want that. So don't do too crazy on that. And again, while you can definitely do this, obviously it's not that simple, but if you put the effort in, you can do it, right? And don't try to do more sets to get a pump, like guys like to get the pump. Because of what's happening with the body during the mini cut rather, the likelihood of you getting a pump is actually going to go down. I know, I don't want to get into the science behind it, but trust me, this is just how it works, right? Part of it is you eating less food. So, certain things are going on, right? Now, another interesting thing, right, is when you do have that water loss, because that's going to happen, you might get flatter. What does that mean? You just, the muscles and everything don't look as round as a guy, maybe as a lady. You're thinking, oh, my thighs don't look as good as they were before. Now, that's temporary, right? That's just temporary. That may just happen briefly. Now, there's a tendency when you're trying to accomplish a goal and, you may see something that looks like it's it's going against the goal. So you're like, oh no, I look worse after a week or two of doing this. Let me stop. No, you just need to understand what's happening to your body and trust the process. Because if you keep doing this, your body will readjust, right? And you will look better at the end of the mini cuts. If mini cuts didn't work, then nobody would do them, right? So that's one of the things you may see famous people do to get it kind of show ready really quickly. I think most recently, the person I can think of is Lori Harvey with her 1,200 calorie diet, right? Or Kim Kardashian I think both of them were doing the Met Gala thing. Kim wanted to fit into that dress. Lori Harvey wanted to drop 15 pounds. Now, most likely, I shouldn't say most likely, I'm pretty sure they were under professional supervision, let's say, with trainers, etc. So hopefully they were doing something like this, that it was temporary, but it was controlled so they aren't going to get fat again. And most likely that is the case. So now, once you know this might happen to you, just because of, water reduction, things like that, then you're not going to panic and go, oh my goodness, it's not working out. Now, also on a mini cut, you're not going to be as strong either. That doesn't mean that you've lost strength, right? You're just not eating as much to fuel you. So if you're curling out 30-pound dumbbells, they're going to feel heavier. Or if you're curling 10, the 10 is going to feel heavier. But you haven't gotten weaker, right? This is a temporary thing. Just focus on the goal, which is to get Beachbody ready, right? You want that summer body. You're not trying to get strong at this point in time. You just want to look better, if only temporarily, right? So you're not going to feel the same in the gym. You're getting less fuel, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. And again, let me say this again. Do not go beyond 6 weeks. That's the max. No more than 6 weeks. You may be tempted to do this, but then you're going to the crash diet type mumbo jumbo nonsense, right? Like you see these saying, oh, lose 30 pounds in 30 days and 40 pounds in 2 months. That's 8 weeks. No. You will gain every one of those pounds. You will gain back again and then some extra. Plus every pound you gain is fat. Whereas some of that weight you lose with these gimmicky things, some of that's going to be muscle. So please do not do that. Do not do that. What else can I think of? Well, you're going to need to know how to, let's see. We already spoke about that. Well, there's some even more advanced things where you're trying to peak that specific day, but that's probably beyond, that's on a case-by-case basis. So it'd almost be pointless to me trying to explain that, because that would be very specific to a particular person. But this is more than enough information for in 3 weeks, which is when summer starts, to really noticeably change your body, right? Because again, let's do some simple math. Let's say you're 200 pounds and let's go to the conservative point 0.75. So that's 1.5 pounds per week times 3. That's 4.5 pounds, right? If it's 4, that's 6 pounds. If you drop 6 pounds, 4.5, 6 pounds in a couple of weeks, you will typically be able to, you'll feel your pants feel a little looser, things feel a little different. And this is the conservative, right? Let's do the 1%, right? Are you talking 0.2? Times 4 weeks. So you're talking even something more dramatic now, right? But actually, let's just go to the higher end, the 1.25%. Probably more fun numbers to deal with. So you're talking 2.5 pounds per week. So you do that for 4 weeks, that's 10 pounds. If you go from 200 pounds to 190, hopefully you can imagine this. That is quite dramatic, right? Just think about it. In 1 month, if you weigh 200 pounds and you drop 10 pounds, and it's not BS weight, you didn't do anything crazy, didn't lose muscle, no gimmicks, right? You did it the right way. You slowly lower those calories. Again, I gave you those baseline ranges, well, at least for one weight range, right? Because again, it varies depending on your weight. But you can see how this could really impact that stuff, right? Now, things to avoid: fasting. Now is not the time to be messing around with any kind of fasting. You want to eat, I would say, 4 to 6 meals a day. 4 is fine. I wouldn't go below 4. So you got breakfast, lunch, dinner. You need to squeeze something in. Space out. Make sure you get protein with each meal. You can have a shake if you're not used to eating 4 solid meals a day. You want to, again, you're going to be lowering the calories, so you don't want to stress your body out. You want to keep cortisol down. Don't be stressing your body out, right? And when you finish the cut, whether it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5, 6 weeks, don't just go binging. You need to restrain yourself to slowly increase back the calories, because if you just binge, you're just going to get back to where you came from. Guaranteed, right? Do not do that. You have to have some kind of self-control to slowly increase the calories, right? It's like when people are found dehydrated, right? If they're rescued, they don't just start letting them guzzle water, or they were starving, they don't let them just eat a feast. They slowly reintroduce water to them, let them sip, let them have small bites, etc., because you will shock your body, which is not good. No bueno, no bueno, no bueno. And you can't do too many of these things. It's not America. You can't mini cut every other month, right? Or every month. It doesn't work that way. Again, you'd be yo-yoing, stressing out your body too much. Because at that point in time, clearly you need to lose real weight, like say 5% of your body weight or more. That's when you got to do a more traditional cut, which is like half a percent to 1% per week, right? Keeping it realistic. Now I'm going to drop the link. And let's see. I'll do it here so I can actually pin it. That'll make things easier. But actually, let me just drop it here first from the get-go to keep things simple. Let me not overthink things, as I'm wont to do. So there's the link if you guys want to call in, ask any questions, leave any comments. Because this wasn't the most easiest thing to follow, but it definitely does work. So if you have any questions about anything that I said, I wasn't clear, or maybe I assumed you knew something that you don't actually know, feel free to call in. You don't have to cam up, but that would be optimal. If I see what I'm working with, I can give you even better advice. Look at it that way. Everybody's got to start somewhere, right? So no need to be afraid to turn on your camera. And while I do that, let's check the chat out. Let's see what's going on. Oh, I missed the super chat. Okay, thanks for the super chat. Okay, Skincare Do's and Don'ts says, what's a realistic time to see results from following the tips? Actually, within the first week, you'll see some water weight loss for sure. So pretty much at the end of the first week, you will see something. If you don't see anything, then something is going wrong for sure, because it's going to be an aggressive caloric reduction, right? Whether it's 0.75% of your body weight per week or up to 1.25, you will see something. If you don't see anything, then you're doing something wrong, right? The key thing is that do not go beyond 6 weeks. 6 weeks is the cutoff, right? And I would say for purposes of summer, shoot for like 3 to 4 weeks. Because again, if you weigh 180 pounds and you drop 5 pounds, you will look different. Your tummy will be a little flatter, etc. You drop 10 pounds, that's even more dramatic, right? But less than say if you drop 10 when you're 200 pounds, it can be noticeable. You will see it in the mirror and other people will see it as well. Good question. Actually, we do have somebody calling. Hey, Sec Amethyst called in. Let me bring you up. Hey, Sec, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, I'm doing fine.
Okay, how's the weight loss journey going?
Absolutely amazing. I feel better.
Okay, nice. Your voice, you actually sound slimmer. Your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Your voice changes as you lose weight.
That. No.
Yeah. Just think about it. Whenever you ever notice when you're on the phone and you can't see somebody, if they sound heavy, they probably are heavy. Right? Like I know when I was heavy, I breathed heavy. Like I had to keep breathing. I couldn't just speak without. Yeah, just think back to it. Just imagine, or anybody you know that's pretty heavy. If you ain't talk to them on the phone, they sound heavy. They don't sound light and hi. They don't sound like that, right? Typically, they don't sound like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you got for me? What questions do you have?
So just for like clarification, the mini cut consists of like no fruits.
Nope, that's not it at all.
Okay.
The mini cut is calories. So actually, one way to help with one way to help to not be starving is to fill up yourself with vegetables and fruits, actually. Because they're not calorically dense. So you wouldn't want, on a mini cut, you wouldn't want to be eating nuts, because a handful of nuts is a ton of calories, right? Where you eat a plate of spinach, negligible, right? But you'd fill yourself up. And when I say vegetables, I'm not talking salads of like iceberg lettuce, because that's useless. That's just water, right? Or romaine lettuce. I'm talking like real vegetables.
Okay.
Spinach, broccoli, and asparagus, things like that. And do not ruin it with the salad dressing, right? You got to calculate everything. Because I remember a client of mine, when I told them, you got to actually calculate the salad dressing, they were shocked at how many calories were in the damn salad dressing, right? So you got to be careful with the salad dressing. It's a picky poison, right? Say you like to add, I don't know, sugar or something sweet to your coffee or your tea, but you want to eat something sweet later, then pick one. Pick the coffee or the tea with the sugar, or pick that sweet thing later. But don't try to do both, right? But that's a good question. I actually forgot to mention that veggies and fruits are a good way to fill up without putting on a ton of calories. Like strawberries was a perfect example, right? A lot of people like strawberries. They don't taste bad to me, but I don't eat them like that. But strawberries have like so few calories, man. You can just chow down on strawberries effortlessly, and you eat a bunch of spinach or broccoli, you'll be full, and you've hardly had many calories, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned not to do the mini cut no more than 6 weeks.
Correct.
What about like doing the mini cuts? Like, okay, do the mini cut for 6 weeks, but how long should we wait in between before starting another mini cut session?
That is a good question. Now that's gonna vary by person to person. Actually, I've never had anybody ask me that question before. But off the top of my head, I would say a couple months, because if you think about it, right? If you need to lose more than 5% of your body weight, then a mini cut is not what you should be doing. To do that is, right? So if you do a mini cut, because mini cut realistically, where mini cuts came from is somebody who's already kind of fit, but they put on some vacation weight or whatever, and they need to get ready really quickly for a photo shoot or the wedding or the whatever, right? And they just need to lose water weight, lose a couple pounds of fat. Like Lori Harvey, the perfect example of something like that.
Yeah.
She put on 15 pounds, but she still looks pretty good. And she wanted to relatively quickly lose 15 pounds, right? Or the Kim Kardashian and the dress situation for ladies. Or some guy trying to get ready for a movie, right? Now, when you need to lose more than that, the conventional approach of 5% to 1% is optimal. Because I remember when I transformed, that same lady, the 65-year-old black lady I interviewed, I remember when I met her, she asked me how long, the first thing she asked me is how long it took. And I told her, yeah, 1.5, 2 years. And she's like, oh, you did it the right way then. And that is so true. This is why I've not gotten fat again, right? Because the first time I lost 65 pounds, I gained it back. I didn't do it terribly the first way, but I didn't do it fully the right way, which is why it came back. Because your body wants to go back to this set point. It's the set point theory. You have different theories on this. So let's say you weigh 150, right? And you drop to 130, but you do it too quickly, not the right way. Your body's going to try to fight to get back up to 150. But if you do it gradually, the right way, and you get down there, you can more likely stay down there, right? Okay. So again, the mini cut is not magic. When people sell you on this, oh, they lose 20, 30 pounds here, and 2-3 months, they do another 20, 30. That's either they're lying or eventually they're just going to put it all the way back again. Yeah. Because I've seen some of these YouTube channels. I should do a video on one of these people because it's like every couple of months, I see this person lose 30 pounds. And I'm like, she should have disappeared by now. I don't understand. Like she's lost 30 pounds over so many times over like 3 to 5 years. I'm like, and she get a gazillion views. I'm like, do people not go back and check her older videos? Like, what is this? Crazy. Yeah. So good, very good question though with the mini cut. I hadn't thought about that one to be honest. But the mini cut here, this is a perfect example where to use it if you're not already that relatively lean person. Summer's coming up. You want to look better, whether it's taking your shirt off as a guy, your bikini, whatever, right? And in 3, 4, 5 weeks, you can look noticeably different. Because again, just imagine right now, if you drop 5, 10 pounds, depending on your weight, if you woke up tomorrow 5, 10 pounds lighter, you would notice it. Your clothes they would feel different. You'd look in the mirror and go, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing a little thing there. Yeah, or less back fat or whatever, right? You would notice something. And other people notice that something too. Now, after this is finished, you want to get back to the regular conventional approach, 0.5% to 1% per week. And in 6 months to a year, you will look dramatically different. Because think about it, right? If you lost 1 pound a week for a year, that's 52 pounds.
Yeah.
You just imagine this seriously. Just think about, like, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know how much you weigh. I don't know if you want to share that, but let's pretend somebody weighed 200 pounds, right? And at the end of a year, they weigh 150. Whether that's a man or a woman, they're going to look almost unnoticeable. People will look at them like, damn, what happened to you? But it would be in a good way, right? Uh-huh. If it was a lady, most likely she looked way better. And if it's a dude, most likely he put on muscle along with losing the 50 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. So, but people think, oh man, I can't do much in a year. But if you know what you're doing, you can do a ton in a year.
Right.
A ton in a year. So pretty good questions there. Okay, so what else you got for me?
Okay, so what are a few signs to notice when your metabolism is changing?
In the bad way?
No, in a good way.
Okay. Well, increased appetite. You're getting hungry because if you're working out, sleeping, and you're not hungry, then that's a bad sign. So, for example, that lady I helped would lose the 50 pounds, and I posted this good picture of her before and after. What's you good on from? I think like size 18. I'm terrible with the ladies' sizes, like an 18 to an 8 or something like that. Maybe getting that wrong. But anyway, her appetite went through the roof because that increased her calories like from 1,000 to like 1,800. Right. And then she was constantly starving at 1,800. Whereas when she was at 1,000, she was quite content, right? And had no appetite. So appetite is a huge indicator.
Okay. Yeah. So as someone's appetite increases, is it okay to increase the exercises or the intensity of the exercise?
Well, I wouldn't say intensity because that's some more cardio type stuff. It's kind of like I've said just today and I've said in other shows, if you have the low intensity thing is usually the way to go, right? You less like to stress out your body. It's easy to do. You less like to quit. It's easy for you to just walk on a treadmill, right? Read a book, listen to something on your phone, check out Instagram, watch my YouTube videos, watch a movie. It's easy for you to do this week after week, month after month, year after year, versus you doing some high intensity stuff. You have to be very disciplined to keep doing that for a long period of time. You increase the risk of you hurting yourself, overdoing it, this, that, blah, 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 blah. So when you said the word intensity, that almost sounds like a red flag to me. So you don't need to increase the intensity per se. Um, Probably better, or let me ask you. So maybe I shouldn't assume things. When you say intensity, you're talking about intensity in terms of weightlifting or intensity in terms of cardio?
In terms of cardio.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, so my suspicions were correct. You're guilty. You're guilty. You're guilty. Resist the cardio urge. So you remember I did a video the other day, and I think you watched it. I think I saw it at the premiere. This new study that showed weights is pretty much as effective as cardio, or maybe slightly better, right? And there's a picture of a dude, slim dude, doing cardio, and then there's this other dude who looks way better than that guy lifting weights. It's the same with women, right? Mm-hmm. Where are the hottest female bodies in the gym? Not in the Zumba class, not on the elliptical machine. They're in the weightlifting section, always over there. So don't worry about increasing cardio intensity. Try to increase the weights you lift. So the key thing with lifting weights is progressive overload. So for example, you've been going to the gym now, right? Or you're doing stuff at home. Which are you doing? Home or?
At home.
Okay. So what kind of resistance exercises are you currently doing as an example?
I'm only doing weightlifting and cardio. That's it.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So what weightlifting stuff are you doing?
25-pound dumbbell.
Okay, that's cool. So let's say, let's pretend you have no other dumbbells, the 25 pounds, right? To increase intensity, you can increase the number of sets you do or the number of reps, because what you want to do is what's called progressive overload, where it gets harder each time. Maybe not literally each time, but maybe every week, every couple of weeks, you increase the intensity. So let's say you are doing goblet squats, holding the 25-pound dumbbell, going up and down, and you did 3 sets of 8 reps. Then next you try 3 sets of 9 reps. But maybe you could only do, maybe that first set you did the 9, and then you're too weak to do 9 and 9. So you do your regular 8 and 8. And over weeks and weeks and weeks, next thing you know, you're doing 3 sets of 20. And your ass is better and your legs are better, right? That's how it works. That's how it works, man. That is how it works. You know, is that progressive overload? You have to keep increasing. If you leave the weight, if a month from now you're using the exact same weights for the exact same sets and reps, then you didn't improve. Mm-hmm. Right? And your body's not going to change. You have to, it's kind of like if you get a cut, you get a little thing, but if you get a bad cut, you get a scar, right? You have to force your body to adapt. You know what I mean? You know, Serena Williams hits the tennis ball pretty hard, and that's why she looks, her body adapted, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you see dancers have some of the most ridiculous physiques, whether they're male or female, right? And because overall at training, their body has adapted to, you know, create those strong legs, the arms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or you see with gymnasts, for example, right? They're always very, very well proportioned. So increase your intensity on your weights and don't increase the intensity on your cardio. What are you doing for cardio out of curiosity?
I'm walking.
Oh, good. So then let's keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Walking and dance workouts. But that's it. Yeah.
Don't go too crazy into dance workouts. Because you want to allocate, in all seriousness, let's say you're working out an hour a day on average, or 30 minutes. You want to allocate the bulk of the time to lifting weights. So let's say I'm just making up a number. If you did a dance workout for 30 minutes and you lifted weights for 30 minutes, it's better you lift weights for 45 minutes and do your dance workout for 15 minutes. You're going to get more bang for your workout minute if you lift weights. It's always like that. Always. Guaranteed. You know, and remember, just do the cardio second. You should lift weights first and then do your cardio.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah. And you don't have to be weights, it can be body weight. If you're doing ear squats with no weight, if you do enough of those things, your legs will kill you, right? You'll feel crazy burn. Or lunges or push-ups. I mean, you can exhaust yourself just doing in place. You can literally just go up and down, and you need, you know, your legs start to kill you or your ass start to kill you, right? So, or lunges, you can lunge in place, put one foot forward, bring it back, put the next foot forward, bring it back, and so on and so forth, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? So, but yeah, always skew it on the resistance training side.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, you don't have the testosterone to get big and bulky, so you don't have any fears about that. Just think of all the guys trying to do that and cannot. They have way more testosterone than you. It's just a myth that if you lift heavy weights, you'll get big and muscular, right? Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Right. I will start doing that next week, increasing my reps on the weight.
Yeah. So yeah, the mini cut definitely works. Again, I know I went through a ton of information. This is probably the first video I would recommend somebody rewatch just because it's a lot of information. The key thing is, yeah, don't go too crazy. Do not go past 6 weeks, right?
Okay.
And you're losing 0.75 up to 1.25%. If you're losing more than that, well, the first week maybe you could lose more because of water weight, but by the second, third week, you shouldn't be losing more than that because then you're doing like some kind of crash diet, starvation type diet, and we know how that's going to end badly, right? It's going to end poorly for you. Going to end poorly. Going to end badly for you. Guaranteed, you're going to put back on the weight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's all my questions I have for now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, and congrats on the weight loss. That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, 20 pounds is a lot, you know, because imagine if you do this 2 more times, that's 60 pounds, you know.
Yeah.
That's literally when people see it, they're like, they hesitate for a second because their brain is like, is that her? And they're like, shit, that is her. Yeah, I mean, that's real. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, most people can't even lose 20. So, yeah, you're doing, because I found this crazy stat recently. Is only 20% of people lose weight and keep it off.
Wow.
Yeah. It makes sense though when I think about it. Because most of my life I failed when I tried to lose weight. So I guess 80% failure rate sounds about accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're well on your way. You're already beating the odds. You're already beating the odds. So keep it up.
Yes. Lucky me.
Yeah. Keep it up, man. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let me drop you back down. So again, anybody else wants to call in, feel free to call in. Let's see what else we got going on. Hello, Uwezimana Angelique. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Granted, I've not done a live stream in a while, actually. Yeah. Had a business trip, had vacation, so I've not done one of these in a while. It feels weird, to be honest. Let's see what else we got going on in the chat. Let's see. Moving along. Yes, again, Big Bad Bull, welcome to the show. I think I did welcome you earlier, but you're new to the show, so I'll bring you up there. Cool. Ah, nice. Where's Imana Angelique? Doing great. Been consistent with her workouts and eating more protein, and it makes her feel great. Yes. Protein is satiating, right? It just works, man. It works. You can live without carbs, but you can't live without amino acids. You need protein, whether you're vegan, carnivore, whatever. You got to get protein. You need those amino acids, right? That's why they're called essential amino acids. They're not optional. And you need some essential fats as well. And welcome, Jabari House. You're new to the show as well. Welcome. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, I like this from Jabari House. Championships are won in the off season. Getting in shape for the summer starts in the winter. But if you want to keep your shape, you train your own diligent. This is true. This is so true. It's back to the question Sec asked about how soon can you get to the next mini cut? Optimally, you've done this one cut, you get this little boost, and then you train through summer and going into the winter, and the next summer, even more badass than this summer, for sure. Right? You didn't transform in the bad way overnight, right? It is what it is. The good news is, like I said, I mean, a pound a week, just 6 months, that's incredible if you think about it, man. That is a ton of weight. That's a lot of weight. It's 26 pounds, right? Or 24, rather. 24. So let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, nice. Like Amethyst is seeing some muscles. Good. Nice progress. So you see, this is the right way you're doing it, say, because a lot of people say, oh, I lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds, blah, 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 or 50 pounds. But then deep down inside, while they've shrunk, they're not seeing these other kind of improvements, like what you described, seeing muscles, which means you're doing it the right way. Because sometimes when people just lose a lot of weight, they obviously look better. I looked better after losing 65 pounds, but I had lost some muscle, right? So I definitely was not happy with well, let me put it. I was happy with the finished product, but not ecstatic. Whereas the second time around I transformed, I was definitely ecstatic with the finished product, right? So yeah, I'm forgetting to say things like this. Clearly I'm out of shape. Yes, if you're here, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new too, but hit the like button. So YouTube can share this with other people. Thanks. Yep. It's knowing when the assignment is due and doing it well before it's due. I posted the night before. This is true. This is true. Oh, nice. So Uwezimana is making some progress as well. Nice. See a little tricep. Nice, nice. And some biceps. That is progress, progress. Yeah, man. If you're trying to transform and you don't eat enough protein, it's very difficult. Very difficult. This is probably the easiest nutritional change people make. Just eat more protein. Whether if you find it hard to eat solid meals, supplement with a protein shake until your appetite ramps up, right? But get it in however you need to get it in, right? You got to drink it, but you will notice the difference, man. You'll be less pain after your workouts. You recover quicker. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Oh, so we got a quote from Michael Jordan going on here. What does it say? Oops, wrong one. Oh, I think the thing scrolled down. Never mind. So what else we got going on here? Oh, here we go. I know I saw this. Some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. I didn't know Jordan had some famous quotes, to be honest. Yes, good idea. Watching the replay to get those numbers. Let's see what else we got going on here. Yes, the positive therapist says the workout regimen of a dancer is serious. I agree. I agree. Yes, this is true. The motivation, the lioness of videography. When you see those muscles in places you have not seen, is motivation to, let me tell you. Yeah, man, that's all my first coach. She helped me, the bikini model. I got muscles that I had not seen ever. Just motivated me to do what the hell she told me to do. So simple, really. Yeah, get the professional, do what the hell they tell you to do, and all will be well. But of course, if it was that simple, everybody would do it, right? So I'm exaggerating. I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult. Even when you know what to do, it's difficult, right? Just like anything else in life, it is difficult, definitely. But little tips and tricks can help you guys. Like remember, veggies can help fill you up. Drinking water can help fill you up, right? Eating protein is satiating. Little things to stack the odds in your favor, right? Little things to stack the odds in your favor. So yeah, definitely wanting to try that. All right. I don't think anybody else is calling up. So last call for anybody who wants to call up with any questions. And I make one last run through checking out what's going on in the chat. Yeah. Is there anything else going on? No, I don't think I've covered everything, everybody. I've not missed anybody, I don't think. So, all right. So, great show today, guys. Good to be back. Hopefully, I'll be back soon again. Although I'll be traveling again, so maybe not. Well, anyways, so later's my massive. May I go along now? For those who don't speak Jamaican patois, that is goodbye, my people. Peace.